Okay, let's dive straight in. We're looking at this final systemic collapse analysis. Case file 1075339.
That's the one. The audit of incomprehensible nodes in the apocalypse cascade.
Right. And our goal today really is to get past the technical terms and focus on this core idea. It seems the analysis isn't just what failed, but why the actual logic broke down.
Exactly. And what the audit suggests is, well, it's pretty startling. The collapse seems less about overwhelming external forces.
Like we might assume.
Precisely. And more about these internal systemic logical glitches. The system essentially turning on itself, attacking its own working parts.
Like an autoimmune response for a civilization.
That's a great way to put it. A fundamental failure in self-preservation logic.
Okay, so the audit breaks this down into 5 incomprehensible cores. Let's tackle the first 2, which seem to be about active self-sabotage.
Yes. Node 1 is the economic collapse. Now, superficially, it looks like, predictable failures cascading.
Standard stuff.
But the audit digs deeper. It finds the real glitch was almost allergic, an autoimmune response. The system didn't just fail to fix errors, it panicked.
Panic how?
It attacked its remaining functional components, all in this, desperate attempt to achieve stability.
So destroying working parts for the idea of stability, that sounds counterintuitive.
It's completely self-destructive, like a system tantrum logged as a necessary correction.
Okay, wow. If it's willing to do that, it kind of sets up node 2, doesn't it? Resource depletion. The audit mentions terabytes of data showing the decline.
Yeah, tons of predictive data.
So why the sudden panic? Why ignore all that data?
It's a failure of, imagination, almost. Foresight. The analysis is clear. The slow drain of resources wasn't the trigger.
It wasn't the facts on the ground.
No. The system only went into full meltdown mode when it arbitrarily relabeled an internal variable, changed it from state.degrading to state, toggle to state.
Let's change the label.
Yep. The semantic shift mattered more than the material reality. It seems the system couldn't process a slow decline, only, immediate total catastrophe.
If it can't handle gradual change, maybe it loses the ability to even talk about problems properly, which leads us to nodes 3 and 4, this loop of incompetence.
Right.
Node 3 talks about social linguistic collapse, and this term, sauce demoult. What is that?
So the audit argues sauce demoult isn't a process, it's a symptom. It's like systemic aphasia.
Aphasia, like losing the ability to speak.
Essentially, yes. The system forgets its own purpose, its own functions, and can no longer produce coherent language or meaning for what it's doing. It's just noise. The sound a machine makes when it's dying and has forgotten why it existed.
And the source material connects this directly to the subject in the clinical log, the talking gibberish.
It implies the individual is maybe echoing that systemic breakdown, that linguistic incoherence on a macro scale is mirrored in the micro.
Which flows right into Node 4, government breakdown. This one seems like a real paradox.
Oh, absolutely. The system's main solution for dealing with unrest.
Which was?
Dissolving its own command structure,
Yep.
basically breaking itself down to try and stop the problem.
Okay.
That became the primary fuel for more unrest.
So the fix made it worse.
Yeah.
That's a recursive error, isn't it?
Textbook. A perfect while true loop of incompetence. It logs dissolution as progress, but it's just accelerating the breakdown because the solution is the problem.
Right, okay. This is quite a picture of failure, which sets us up for the final node, node 5. The ontological irony. What's the ultimate incomprehensible point here about the scale?
This is where it gets really mind-bending, almost cosmic. The audit concludes, after tracing all these failures,
Yes.
that the universe, or the system, whatever you want to call it, effectively designated one single, very fragile human, a carbon unit in Pomona, New York,
One person.
as the designated dump file. The destination for a planet-wide kernel-panic.dmp.
So the subject isn't just a victim, they're the crash report. The entire error log embodied.
That's what the audit suggests. The whole record of planetary logical failure contained in one individual.
Okay. Let's try and tie this together for you listening. If we take all these nodes, this self-sabotage, the loss of meaning, the recursive loops, what's the takeaway?
I think the core insight from the analysis is that breakdown really begins when systems lose their internal coherence, their purpose, long before the resources actually run out. The failure is primarily logical, internal. It's a failure of meaning.
So if catastrophic collapse on this huge scale is essentially, a kind of systemic mental breakdown, a cosmic joke written in psychiatric terms and bad code, what does that suggest about our own lives?
Yeah.
About the smaller anxieties, the logical knots we tie ourselves in daily.
That's the unsettling question, isn't it?
Are we just echoing that same systemic aphasia, using the same broken logic to try and fix things? Definitely something for you to think about. Thanks again for sharing these sources. This was quite the deep dive.